Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video in which I will be showing you how to completely clean and flush out your Pilot Parallel pen and refilling the cartridge that it came with whatever ink you'd like using only these items. So let's talk about it. So let's say you have your Pilot Parallel pen and you are nearly done with the cartridge that it came with, or if you simply just want to use another color of your choice, you don't need to buy another Pilot converter for it. You can use the same cartridge that it came with, and it's a lot easier than you think it is, and you need a lot less things than you think you do. One thing you will need is a bulb syringe. This is very cheap. It's like $2 or $3 at your local pharmacy, or you can use this little squeezy thing that your parallel pen came with. You don't need both, you just need one or the other, but I prefer to use a bulb syringe just because it has a lot more water pressure when cleaning it out. You will need an eyedropper for refilling your ink cartridge. You're going to need a toothpick or something similar to it that you can poke your cartridge with, and just a glass of water and some paper towels and access to a faucet. So the first thing you want to do is put a stopper in the sink, just in case if you have slippery hands, if anything falls, it won't fall all the way through. I filled up this glass with water. So once you have your pen disassembled, basically just pull out the cartridge. So this is now full of ink. This one is what you're going to clean out. Rinse this out under water. Oops. As you can see, ink's starting to come out. Just make sure you wet the nib nicely and you get some water in there. Now obviously there's still some ink left on the inside in the feed in there. So what you can do is use your bulb syringe, get some water in there, and I'll show you. You just put this little nozzle thing right down there. It fits perfectly actually in there, and you give it a little squeeze. As you can see, ink will start to flow through your pen and empty out the insides. It's going to clear the feed there for you. See how much ink there is. There's still a lot in there. That's why I kind of like using this bulb syringe actually, because when you squeeze water in there, it applies more pressure as opposed to this thing that it came with. First of all, you don't get that much water in here. It does fit nicely in there. You can still use this, right? As you can see, the ink still coming out, but it doesn't have that same water pressure as a bulb does. So just give that a few rinses.
You can go back to the sink again, do the same thing.
Sometimes I like to just replace the water. So I make sure that I do this process until the nib and it runs completely clear. So yeah, so that looks pretty good right now. I'm just gonna give it one more just for safety measures. So you can see that looks pretty good right now. There's no ink coming out of that feed. All right, so let's say this is pretty much done with. So you can set that aside. Now the one that takes the longest is the actual cartridge itself. So just to give you a basic idea of what this cartridge entails, there's a little flap on the inside there. I know you can't see it right now because it's black, but there is a little flappy thing that kind of like tilts one way or the other that allows ink to flow, and there is a little ball in there as well. So just for starters, I know because I punctured this cartridge already, you can see the little flap is already slanted diagonally. So I just like to flush it out with some water first over the sink. You can see how much there's a lot of actually ink in this cartridge, so it's gonna have a lot of residue in there. Now there's only so much I can do because the flap in the ball is preventing the water and ink from coming out. So what I like to do is again use a bulb syringe, and I can do this over the sink, but do the same thing into this cartridge as well. As you can see, I'm squeezing out more ink. So previously the water coming out of the faucet didn't really do the job, but this one will. Because this is such a narrow end point there, it does fit nicely in there, and if you squeeze the water in there, it'll allow the flap to tilt over and give it some flow.
So basically just do this over and over again. It really shouldn't take you that long. This one just had a lot of ink in it. It was pretty much a brand new cartridge. So I kind of like to rotate between doing that and throwing it under the sink.
So now I'm going to show you what you can use the toothpick for. So as you can see, just by running it through water and using the bulb syringe, it's still not getting all the ink in. So inside this thing, there's a flap, like I said. So you just want to poke one side so the flap is pretty much parallel to your toothpick. So there should be a hole in there. So once you have that flap up, do the same thing. Just squeeze out some of the ink, see? Now that the flap is up, it's allowing more ink to flow through. Sometimes the flap will close up again. So in that case, just give it a little poke. So you allow the ink to flow. There, now you can see the ink is slowly starting to completely leave the cartridge. You can kind of like poke the cartridge so that the flap is up, and then just like put it upside down, and you can see all the ink come out. See, now there's a difference. See, if I just put this cartridge upside down as is, water's not coming out of it, ink won't come out of it. But as soon as I poke the cartridge with the toothpick, then you can see it comes out. Water starting to fall out. See a little clearer there. There, I'm going to show you the little ball there. Now you can, clear enough that you can see the ball inside. Now, for the little bits of ink that's left, the residue ink that's inside, what you could do is you just want to put a little bit of water in there. Right now this is really full, but just empty out some water so there's like kind of like a little bit of water, a little bit of air in there, and just give it a good shake. So there you can see the ink is pretty much cleared out of that cartridge there. This should be good to dry now. So once you have the cartridge cleaned out and you have the feed and the section cleaned out and rinsed, you just want to make sure it's dry. So just take a little paper towel or tissue, something that's not too fibrous. I like to just kind of give it a wipe down real quick, and just clean the insides. Just dry out the insides. Now again, you don't want to use anything that's too fibrous. You don't want anything stuck in there that might clog up your pen and your feed. So just make sure you clean everything nicely. If you want to, you can also, and then on top of this, I kind of just let it air dry as well for a few minutes. So I just like to keep it vertical, like so, and just leave it there. Same with the feed. Same with the cartridge. Just wipe that down. You can see it's completely cleaned out now. Just keep that vertical and just give it some time for it to dry out. So once you have the cartridge and the feed and the section all dried out, the next thing you want to do is fill up the cartridge with ink of your choice. So you take your ink, use your eyedropper. I'm going to show you the anatomy of this thing again. So as you can see, the cartridge here has a ball, and it has that little flap thingy. Right now it's good, nice and vertical. If you need it more vertical, just poke it with a pen. There you go, completely vertical now. So you can see right in there, it can go right through. So fill up your eyedropper with the ink of your choice. Then it's just a matter of dropping your ink in there. Now that's not what you should do. I accidentally squeezed the eyedropper onto the table. That was my mistake. I'm an idiot. But in any case, as you can see, I filled it up with some ink. I'm not going to fill up all the way because I don't want that much ink in here yet. But once you have it filled, you can see, make sure you keep it upright so it doesn't spill. Just take a paper towel or something and just wipe the cartridge down. It's kind of hard to do this when I'm trying to watch the screen as well, to be honest. That's why it's a bit messy. But once you get it cleaned out, there you go. I'm satisfied with the amount of ink in there. You're gonna take again your section here and the feed, and you're gonna pretty much just poke it right in there. Push it in, poke it in, should fit right in. And there you go. Make sure it's properly in. Now ink is going to start to flow down through the feed. It's not going to right away. You're just going to give it some time to soak in. Close up, put the body back on. I like to just kind of like keep it vertical for a few minutes, just so that it allows the ink to flow through the feed, and that'll be ready to go in about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, you can just start cleaning up.